So, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Christopher Snyder and I build automations and workflows for businesses. And for today's build, what we're going to be hopping into is what I think personally is one of, if not my most valuable build as of yet, is a advertising automation workflow. And this also is going to work with organic content as well, so it doesn't have to be for just paid advertisement. But I obviously, do have paid advertising as the main automation for this workflow as well. So trying something new with the mic here as well, just so I can get better audio quality for these videos. And yeah, without further ado, let's hop into this workflow. So heading into this workflow here, we have 3 initial triggers off the start, and the webhook trigger is going to be very important for later on in this video, so we're going to save that for later on. But for these 2 triggers beneath it, we have our manual trigger, and obviously, kind of self-explanatory. Every single time, you click on the trigger, it's going to start the whole automation and workflow process. So like I said, kind of self-explanatory, have it in my earlier videos as well. And the trigger beneath that one is a weekly schedule trigger. And what this is going to do is I have it set so every Monday at 9 a.m. this whole entire automation and workflow is going to process itself. And you could set this specific trigger to whichever time you want or whichever day, whatever time you want specifically. So, obviously, there's no set specific parameters. Just set it accordingly to how you want your automation and workflow to start and trigger. But moving on to the next step in the process, we have our set business input function. And obviously, this is necessary. So this is going to basically, be an input for all of your specific business metrics. So obviously your business name, the niche that you are performing in, and also the budget range for your ads that you do want to spend towards allocation on your specific ad campaigns. And then also the target audience that you are trying to reach within your specific niche. So obviously if you have a specific target audience preference, or if there is a specific target audience that you should be outreaching to specifically, this business input is so then it is going to take your business input and your business information that you put in this previous function, and then it is going to go to your Facebook ad library API. And what this API is going to do specifically is it's going to take the top performing ads within your specific business niche, and is going to take the specific data such as their CRMs or their CPMs, their ROAS, return on ad spend, conversions. You can set as many specific metrics within that specific API as you can to search and locate for that top specific performing ad within your business niche. It's going to take and scrape all of the data from those top performing ads and also the copy within those specific ads as well. So it's going to take the body, the hook, the call to action within those ads as well. It's going to scrape that data as well, and it's going to move on to our next step in the process. But before we get to that, let's get to this Instagram content scraper. And this is what I was mentioning earlier. So it's not going to be just organized for paid advertisement sake. Obviously, if you want that to be your only specific function, obviously it's very easy to input that as so. But I have this inputted as well, so we can make it for organic content sake as well. So it'll take the specific metrics such as likes, comments, and shares from Instagram, and obviously the top performing posts within your specific business niche, and it's going to take that data as well, and also the specific copy within that ad as well, like I said earlier, and or not ad, the specific post, but it's going to take the specific copy from that post, and then it is going to move on to our JavaScript function, and this is going to basically analyze your competitors. So like I said, it is going to take all of the data that it received from your API from inside the Facebook ad library, and also from the Instagram organic content section, and it is going to analyze all of the data. So it's obviously going to analyze the specific metrics within the specific ad library that post is doing. So like I said, CPMs, cost per clicks, ROAS, conversion rates. You can have it set to whatever specific metrics that you want to see specifically within your specific API. you could set to, like I said, as many metrics as you want. I mean, there are a specific set amount of requests that you can make, but like I said, it's more than enough to go over all of the metrics that you do want to see. Obviously, well, the top performing metrics that you do want to see initially, but also for, obviously for Instagram, it's going to analyze, likes, comments, shares, and obviously the top performing posts within your specific business niche. And basically, that JavaScript function is going to be solely responsible for just, incorporate all of the data that is receiving. And then it is going to curate basically the top 10 performing Facebook ads within that specific business niche, and also the top 10 performing Instagram content posts within your specific niche as well. So then it is going to take all of that data from the JavaScript function, and then it is going to move on to our AI performance analysis. And what this is going to do is going to, take all of the data that from the JavaScript function, and it is going to take basically like what messaging themes work best. Like, this is going to go so in depth into like the deeper psychology behind why these specific ads are performing the way they are, and also, just obviously the key metrics, from, the Facebook ad libraries or the Instagram organic content section. And it's going to take all those specific metrics and then just draft a brief performance analysis to move on to the next step. And this is going to be our generate ad copy variations. And what this is going to do is it's going to take basically all of the data that it received from the performance analysis node previously, and it's going to generate 5 different ad copies for your business niche. And it's going to generate the ad copies and basically just give you ad copy variations to work with, just to see which ones you do like. And is obviously each specific ad copy and organic content post as well is going to be specifically tailored, obviously, from the previous data that it was received by the APIs. And like I said, this is why this workflow is just on a whole nother scale. But the reason why it is because if you don't have these APIs looking for these specific metrics in the first place, then it's just going to be looking for just content for content's sake and ads for ad's sake. Like, it's not going to dive deeper into the specific whys behind why these ads or posts are performing the way they are. And this is why you have to go so in depth into implementing these specific metrics, so you can get specifically the best data that you could possibly receive from these APIs. And if you don't have these specific, metrics and parameters implemented into these APIs to look for initially, then you're not getting the best use case out of these APIs and out of the data that you are looking to receive. So this is why this workflow in automation is just on a whole nother level compared to these other workflows I do see online. They just scrape ads for ad's sake and content for content's sake. They're not going into the specific data and metrics that are needed so you can get the best data possible that to receive to your API and generate your specific ad needs. So like I said, this is why this workflow is just on a whole nother level from all of these other workflows and automations that I do see online. It goes into the deeper reasoning as to why these ads in content are performing the way they are in the first place. And with that being said, we're going to move on to our next step in the process. So I have an if function statement here. So it's going to be our check for current ad data function. And what this is going to do is obviously it's going to check to see if you have any current ad data running at the moment in your Facebook or Instagram ad library. And if you do not have any current data running at the moment in your ad libraries, it's going to move on to our new campaign recommendations. And what this specific function is going to do is going to give you your whole campaign launch strategy, and is going to basically, obviously give you your whole strategy, which specific budget allocation should be allocated to, which specific ad set. And these ads are going to also be optimized for, the specific metrics that I was inputting into the specific functions earlier. And that's also going to be included within this launch strategy as to why, these specific, ad variations are optimized so you can have the best performing metrics for your ad set and your campaign in general. But then, if you do have any current ad data running at the moment in your Facebook or Instagram ad library, then it is going to move on to our analyze current ad performance function. So obviously, it's going to analyze all your current data in your Instagram and Facebook ad library. And like I said, from all the specific metrics that I said earlier, so your click through rate, your CPC, your CPM, your conversion rates, ROAS, etc. Like the list goes on and on for all the specific metrics that you do want analyzed specifically. And basically, what it's going to do is go compare your metrics to also, your competitors as well, and then also just give you is just going to basically be the sole function for just analyzing all of the current data within your ad set and campaign. And that's what that function is going to be solely reliable for. But then it's going to move on to the next step in the process, which is this chat GPT function. And what this is going to do is it's going to generate your optimization strategy based off of your specific ad data that you do have at the moment. And basically, if your ads, are performing so well, then it's going to give you optimization strategy based off of that. And then also, if your ads, aren't performing well, then it's going to provide specific data fixes and give specific reasoning as to why this specific metric within your current ad is just why that specific ad isn't performing well in that specific metric. And like I said, this goes so in depth, and this is why this workflow, like I said earlier, it's so much different than all these other workflows I do see on the internet. It goes into every specific reasoning as to why these specific metrics are performing or aren't performing the way they should be. And this is why this workflow is just on a whole nother scale. Like I said, there's going to be so much value dropped in this video. So, I really do appreciate you guys sticking around. But the real key to just like making like a specific workflow like this just so great is because I have these specific functions and parameters to get into the very specifics as to why these ads are performing the way they are, why these specific metrics are performing the way they are, and I go into the whys into the other whys as well. Like this is why this workflow is just on a whole nother level. And like I said, I can't express this enough. You have to just implement these specific workflows to follow these specific parameters, because if you don't set these specific parameters around your APIs and these functions to follow like these very specific parameters, then you're just going to be scraping data for data's sake, and then you're not going to get the best possible results from your workflow, and also just the best use out of your functions in the first place. So that is just why it is so important to go into the very specifics into each and every function and have it optimized in the best way so you can scrape the best results from these agents and workflows and functions, so you can just set your business up for the best success that it could possibly receive. But with that being said, we're going to move on to our final steps. And so we have our compile final report function, and obviously this is just going to basically compile all the data that was previously received from either your new campaign recommendations function or your optimization strategy based off of your ad performance. And it's just basically going to compile one final report for you and send it off to your Slack, or like I said, just basically whichever messaging platform you do want implemented. So whether use Telegram or whichever messaging platform you do use, it'll be able to send your final report to that specific destination. But like I said earlier in this video, I was going to get back to this webhook trigger. But what this webhook trigger is basically going to be responsible for is whenever a specific ad metric is reaches a certain point. So for example, if you have a 3% return on ad spend and you have that specific metric implemented into that specific trigger, then that trigger is going to send a notification to whichever messaging platform you do use that this specific ad is performing or has reached this specific metric. So I have this implemented as well, and also for conversions for example, it'll trigger this workflow for whenever you get a notification and send a notification back to you, whenever you do get conversions. So like I said, that's why this webhook trigger is important. So it will notify you how your ads are performing specifically. But like I said, if you don't have this implemented, then you're just going to basically, you're not going to get notifications from your current ad data and how they are performing. But not only that, it's just like basically it's just a cautionary notification function. So like I said, if you're just you're having a busy night and you can't look at your specific ad data, then basically this is just going to be responsible for just sending notifications to you whenever a specific metric is met within your ad. And that's why I feel like this trigger is also so very useful as well. So with that being said, it's going to be the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed this automation and workflow that I put together for you all today. And one of the reasons why I think this is just my best workflow as of yet is just because paid advertisement is just one of, if not the most essential part to growing a business in the first place. And this really just gave me an opportunity to show and put everything that I am capable of on display. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this workflow as well, and you want me to go more in depth about a specific function, for example, please get at me down in the comments, and I'll make sure to respond to each and every one of your questions. And if you're a business out there that does want something like this workflow implemented into your business, please make sure to get at my business email, and it'll be down in the description below. And yeah, with that being said, it's going to be the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next video.